Man is something that should be overcome. That's the perfect quote from the book, and I think that for me, it's one of the most important ones and the most interesting ones. I'm actually thinking about having a tattoo I have 6 tattoos. One of them is a cow from Buddha and from Nietzsche book as well. Because the first city that Zarathustra comes to is a cow. I want to really do a tattoo of this sentence, and why? First of all, of course, it's a very provocative sentence. For me, it's much more provocative than God is Dead, because God is Dead is a provocative sentence from the 19th century and for religious people. I don't really see it provocative for nowadays, at least not for me. Of course, it was very provocative for the time, but not for the 21st century. Many more provocative things have been said. But man is something that should be overcome. That's very provocative for me, because all of the Greek philosophers, all of the regular philosophers, French philosophers, besides Camus maybe, most of the philosophers I've read so far, not as a philosopher, but I have my own share in philosophy, all of them are talking about how to make the man better, right? Like, take the man, make it better, make it more interesting, sometimes existentialist-wise, sometimes performance-wise, but they always try to take the man and shape it into a way that it's a bit better. And nobody ever dismisses the idea of being a human being. Because how can you dismiss something that is basically the basics of what the experience of living is as a human being, right? It's like saying, I'm dismissing the idea of living, so just kill yourself. But it kind of is, right? Because, of course, I don't support any one of you killing yourself. Exactly the opposite. This book saved my life because I was thinking about killing myself. What I am saying is, in order to build something, you must destroy. And sometimes things are so rotten from the inside out that the only way to improve them is to destroy them. Sometimes you just need to destroy to build, like a muscle, right? Here in this case, man is something that is not so bad that you must destroy it completely. It is something that you must destroy parts of in order to become better. Not to make it just more designed. I don't think we need to make it look better. I think we need to destroy it and change it. And that's why man is something that needs to be overcome. What is exactly a man? Nietzsche talks about it endlessly in the book. It's basically having basic virtues and needs. Having values, having ideologies, having emotions that are not useful for improving you as a person. Seeing things as not transactional, but as like emotions-wise. Many things that define a man. And I do think that this sentence is one of the most important. Now, Nietzsche continues and says, once you were an ape, and even now man is more of an ape than any ape. Don't get him wrong, he doesn't think that Darwin is right. I don't really care if Darwin is right or not, but he said in one of his books, after I read in Google exactly what is the meaning of the sentence, he doesn't believe what Darwin said. It's actually a very funny reason why he doesn't believe. It's not from a way of God created Earth or anything. Nietzsche always has something different to say than anyone else. Why he doesn't believe in Darwin? Philosophy, like Darwin theory and evolution. Because he said that life is much too complex in order to believe that so many axioms and set of rules worked all together in a way that created the idea that we came from monkey. Because if you think about it, there is so many things that need to happen in order for us to conclude to the idea that we come from monkeys, right? And it just says the world is much too difficult and life is way too complex in order for everything to go that aligned so perfectly in order for that to exist. Very interesting claim by Nietzsche. I don't know if I agree with it or not. It's just something very interesting for you to think about. Let's say brain food, right? Now, he says over here, the Superman, basically the Übermensch, right, is the meaning of the earth. Do not believe those who speak of you of superstitious hopes. To esteem the bowels of the indestructible more highly than the meaning of the earth is the greatest blasphemy. To rise and romanticize the ununderstandable philosophies and ideas such as thus, basically Christianity disfiguring of man and disfiguring of gender, is the highest blasphemy after God died. Now, this sentence is very long, right? It's very difficult to understand in the first reading, and I do encourage you, of course, to read the book. I'm still struggling myself after reading this sentence for like 20 times. What does it exactly mean? What exactly did he try to mean by it? But I can give my initial thoughts. What is coming to mind when I read it again now? When he says to rise and romanticize the ununderstandable philosophies and ideas such as thus is the highest blasphemy, it's thinking on how to become smart, right? It's like faking smartness. It's trying to say, I have this thought, I have this idea, it's very I have a perfect example. My mentor, the guy from Harvard, I talked about him in the first chapter. He used to say, I'm done with the tricks and flips, the tricks and theoretical flips of the left camp. And I told him, of course, because the left camp always tries to make things look complicated because they're trying to look smart, while the right wings are just making things as simple as they are because they don't need to prove anything to anyone. They just show things clearly. Now, I'm not a right wing. I am a very much, I don't have any wings right now, but I was very much left wing. And I think that the idea of the romanticized, the ununderstandable philosophies is exactly this. This is the ununderstandable philosophies. Those things are just flips and tricks and ways of trying to look and feel like you're a smart and educated and sophisticated person. Life is way too complicated for all of those things. You cannot take a complicated idea and complicate it 10 times more and saying that it makes sense because it's already way too complicated. And to make those hopes and those ideas higher than the meaning of earth, basically the meaning of the Übermensch, the actual meaning of what life is the greatest blasphemy you can do because it's the greatest threat and the greatest cheatery against the taste of the earth. When you're trying to take a part of the power that the earth has to offer by all of those high-end philosophies and those tricks and flips, you're basically taking away from the power and the essence of what earth is, especially when you romanticize it. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that I got my point through because I am struggling with it myself and I don't want it to look, to come out unclearly. Now he keeps on saying, in truth, man is a polluted river. One must be a sea to receive a polluted river, not be defiled. The Superman, he is the sea in him, your great contempt can go under. Man is a polluted river. One must be a sea to receive a polluted river and not be defiled. Amazing. What does it mean? It means exactly as it sounds. The man, basically the ultimate man, basically the regular person, is a polluted river. He has many things that are wrong and unjustified and mistaken inside of his essence and his DNA. In order for you to receive all of those things and not be defiled by it yourself, you must be a sea. The Superman is the sea. And with him, with Superman, you can bring all of your thoughts and bearings and bad things and polluted DNA, and you will not be defiled by it. Now, the idea of a person where it cannot be defiled, it's basically, it's kind of like a priest, right? Like that's at least the idea of a priest. You can come to him, you can confess, he will not do anything. Also a psychologist, you can come, you can confess, he will not judge, he will not be defiled. Same idea. It's not something that Nietzsche invented, of course, the idea of taking a polluted river and putting it in a sea and the sea will not be defiled. But I think neither a psychologist or a priest can actually do it. I think they're both polluted rivers, usually even more than regular people. But the psychological idea of a polluted river coming into a sea without being polluted is very common, right? That's basically what a mentor is. It's basically what a spiritual guide is. All of those high-end characters that's supposed to help us to fix our lives and improve it. That's what they're supposed to be. A sea that is unpolluted by the polluted rivers, right? Now, I think that it's important for me to put it through he of course means it as well because he wrote about it. When we say polluted river, we do not mean in any way Christianity virtues. Violence, sexual desire, drug use, alcohol use. In a way, of course, everything must be in balance. That's not what we mean by polluted. Polluted is actually the opposite. Being a person, right? Moral ideologies, values, etc. So that is very important to bring through. If I want to conclude this chapter, and I will try because it is things that I am still struggling with myself in, please do not fall under the misconception of self-help. Those high mentors that speak to you about the essence of life and the ideas of life and what you should do and what you should not do, don't fall under it. They are the blasphemy of the taste of the earth. They are killing and building superstitious hopes that we cannot achieve in any way or sort, and shouldn't we not try to achieve them? Because those are not what we're looking for. This is becoming a ultimate person more than an ultimate person can be. Ditch those ideas and those thoughts and believe in the taste of the earth, because the earth is always right, because it's been here much longer than all of those priests and psychologists and those influencers. Thank you guys for watching.